Recording now. Okay, Alexis, so I have a bunch of questions for you.
Okay, what questions do you have?
What's the most interesting thing you've heard this week?
Well, before I answer that, I want to get people introduced into our channel. So our channel is called Millennial and Boomer. I am a millennial and you are a boomer, of course. And we just have different perspectives of the way we view life, our morals, our friendships, relationships, our politics. And even though we are the same as humans, I feel like it is important for us to have or to hear perspectives from other cultures and people, and and just to learn and maybe we could like what we hear. Maybe we agree to disagree, who knows, but we're going to keep going forward, and hopefully this channel could open up some mindsets to some views and get people to be open-minded more and just to see the world in another, in different types of ways. So yeah.
And we're going to call this Sip and Talk. And
Sip
cheers
and Talk
to you.
Sunday.
Sip and Talk Sunday. We're drinking a 2011 Stag's Leap Petite Syrah, which is quite good. In fact, I got really lucky. I happen to know this particular Rite Aid that seems to leave their wine sitting on the shelf for 5 or 10 years. And what should be a $70 bottle of wine, they're selling for regular prices. So
that's really good.
We live in a great corner to find those deals on the wine. Anyway, so what's the most interesting thing you heard this week?
This week, to be honest, what is it? What is it? To be honest with you, I haven't been watching it. I mean, I have been keeping up with the news, but like I haven't been, usually I'm like more in tune this week, but because of school, I'm playing catch up. So the most interesting thing I heard this week is, I don't know anything I heard, but how I feel like they need to open up these gyms and more amenities like ASAP. I think that's what needs to be going on. Jeff, what's the most interesting thing you heard then?
Down. I call it the COVID 1984 Plandemic. What's that? I didn't hear that.
I said, what's the most interesting thing you heard this week?
I think the most interesting thing today is I finished a documentary called Princes of Yen, which I started months ago. I got about halfway through it and I got bored with it. And it basically goes through Japan's answer to the whole deflationary crash that they had and how it kind of portends the future for us and what the central banks are going to do. It's actually almost like a modern day Creatures from Jekyll Island in a way. It kind of shows you the whole central banking system and how it works. So that was enlightening. It wasn't terribly enlightening because I think I knew a lot of that already. I already felt like that was kind of the way. But they're going to, I think part of this reset, part of the economic reset is to push for structural changes. And I think the public needs to rise up and say, no, we need shorter working hours and universal basic income. And that's going to be the dynamic. I think we're going to get universal basic income no matter what. So Andrew Yang gets his way whether he's elected or not. Yeah, Andrew Yang gets elected or gets his way whether he was elected or not. I think that's just coming. What else? I mean, I've gotten into this guy on YouTube. You've been watching it with me. With the Jeffrey Epstein stuff and just all the true crime stuff. This guy, it's just entertaining for me more than anything. I'm not sure I believe much of it, but this guy, Sean Atwood, and he's gotten really popular lately, but he's taking on everybody, all the major elites. So it's interesting.
As he should. They got it coming.
Yeah, I mean, the elites have not served us.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, oh, you saw it with me too. The Michael Corbett report, the Corbett report, the whole
Mm-hmm.
4 series on Bill Gates. That was pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing about that is I knew all of that because we were dealing when I worked for Novell with Bill Gates directly. I've met him like 3 times. And that was a period of time, and it perfectly explains his ideology. I'll put it that way. Because really the Corbett report tries to nail it down to an ideology. I'm not sure some of these guys that are in the, what do I want to say, the YouTube sphere that are quite popular. I take some of them with a grain of salt. Corbett tries to be very thorough though in his reports. So I thought that was really interesting this week. Then the other big thing, I learned about the Princes of Yin from the Pomp podcast, and a guy, I can't think of his first name, but he runs something called Nugget News on YouTube, and he's got a Facebook page. He's really a good crypto analyst. And you know, these guys are all talking about how the what I want to say, the network effects of crypto and how the hive mind is going to rise up and replace our whole financial system overnight. I totally agree. I totally agree with them. I think that we're getting to the point where we're going to get a complete economic reset with the financial system reset too. So that's
Right.
that I think is forthcoming. And I know you and I pre-talked about this, but I mean, I think we wanted to talk about where to live with COVID 1984 because it's going to change things structurally. We're inside LA, and I'm worried about supply chains. We've got like 3 days worth of supply chains coming into us. If that gets disrupted, and things are, I think, a lot more fragile than people realize.
Yeah.
That's my big concern. We've got institutions failing all around us. You know, a lot of people argue that it was the Catholic Church that started opening up once the internet came out. They couldn't hide all the pedophilia going on there. And then people have said that you know, that's what created this wave of people hating institutions and not trusting their government or their church or their business or whatever it was. But I think Eric Weinstein, who puts it really well, he said something happened around 1970, 71 that fundamentally changed things where we lost integrity. I would actually argue with him, like this whole FBI Obamagate scandal now that's brewing. I would actually argue that, you know, the FBI has been corrupt well since the days of J. Edgar Hoover. They should be removing his name off the buildings because the corruption that was running through the FBI has been there for a long time. You know, there's a lot of people who believe that Hoover may have been involved in JFK's assassination. So that goes way before 1970. We've had corrupt institutions for a long time. It's just time we demand better. We need to clean these things up.
Yeah, we have to demand better. We really do. And I just feel like we have to, in demanding better, we have to learn how to strategize other than just like protesting. You get what I mean? Like I feel like sometimes that's what they want us to do. They want us to protest and just like yell, 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 yell. Like sometimes we just need to be quiet. I know it makes you feel some type of way, but sometimes we need to just like learn how to move silently. And once we learn how to do that as a people, or a majority of us learn how to do that, then I feel like that would really scare them because they don't see us coming. You get what I mean?
Right. Move silently with a plan. You have to have a plan if you're going to move silently.
Right. Exactly. Right. A solid plan. But yeah, I think that's the best way to go because we've been protesting since the Black Panthers. We've been protesting before that, even before that.
Protesting during the 60s and 70s. It hasn't changed things.
Yeah.
It's been more of the same.
It really hasn't. It's even more of the same. So it's like we need to, you know, just like figure out another route to go and, like you said, have a solid plan. And I feel like having a plan, it would be successful for us as a people. You know, knowledge is power, and if we move in a knowledgeable way and mentally like get in their head, and then we'll be okay. I feel like it. I think so. But if we're just yelling and we're trying to, you know, threaten them or whatever, because I feel like that's not going to work at the end of the day. We just need to come together and move, but don't move
Well,
too
I
loud.
mean, a lot of people say that, you know, it's the problem is secret societies, right? It's all these secret
Hmm.
societies that control things. They have all these hidden power structures, and sometimes these societies don't even have a name. And you can
Exactly.
see those societies playing things out when you just look at our political system. Look at all the dirty tricks in DC. We're
And
basically living under a three-party system right now. You've got the political left, the Bernie Bros and the AOC types, the squad types. You've got the globalist elite, what do I want to call it? Techno techno liberalism, techno liberal neoconism, because it's kind of the neocons are moving into that group as well. And that's, you know, best represented by the DNC and Biden and such. And then you've got all the Trumpians now. We live under three different political groups, and then there's this probably hidden bar above all of them that we don't even know about. And I think
yeah,
that's what's getting exposed right now. That hidden bar is kind of coming to the fore. I mean, that's kind of what that Bill Gates video told me too. You know, you can't
yeah,
now with YouTube, even though there's a lot of censorship on the channel, we've seen it. It still provides really good information for people. You can go right up to the limit. Like I heard one guy call the virus, he calls it the corona, or excuse me, the corona beer, the beer virus, just because he couldn't say it
really.
early on. Yeah. It's a guy named
Wow.
George Gammon. This guy's really interesting. I mean, kind of doing our meta-analysis of YouTube personalities. This is one of my favorite channels. This guy goes from investment, and he's a true nomad capitalist. That's another channel that's really good. But he's a
Hmm.
nomad capitalist that is living in Colombia now. And so he's just doing investments. He's living off his investments, and he's saying, move to a third world. But I really hate for us to give up on America. I mean, even if you made a bunch of money, would you leave the country, or would you try to stick it out and
No,
fight?
I wouldn't even stop doing business with the country. I mean, America is a business making country. Like you would want to have a business in America to reach a type of level, but America is also has its own type of group within that, secret society, whatever you want to call it, their own little, elitist group. And you have to have so much power or so much influence just to be a part of that. But I feel like now because of COVID-19, like that shit, excuse my language, that stuff doesn't even really matter like now because it's like any day could be your day to leave the earth. So it's like, maybe it's still a little bit, the little group or whatever, but I feel like now these days people is like, people don't really care about a group now because it's like this virus, this is a bioweapon that, affected us like any other way.
Oh
So
yeah, I
people
completely
mindset,
agree. I
yeah.
think we're in a state of total war with China right now.
Mhm.
Whether you think this was a bioweapon or not, the way that they handled
Mhm.
it with letting all these people leave the country while restricting everybody inside Wuhan, that is an act of what would traditionally be viewed. That's an act of war against the world. Because it's
Yeah.
not just against the U.S. It's really the CCP not caring about humanity in general.
Yeah.
That was completely, no matter how you cut it, that was just, um, I don't know if I should call it an act of war, but it sure comes damn close. It comes really close if it isn't. Oh, that was another guy I listened to. This is a couple of weeks ago. His name's Gregory Copley. He's out of Australia, and he has this whole concept of total war. He's really interesting too when it comes to foreign policy. I guess the other guy I've been
Yeah.
following this week has been Peter Zihan. Zihan. I don't know if it's
Mhm.
Zihan or Zihan. He's a really good kind of like foreign affairs analyst.
Mhm.
And I think he has CIA ties and such. He used to work with George Friedman out of Stratfor. Friedman is actually my old poli sci teacher from college, and he had this company called Stratfor, which was quote the corporate CIA. It was the CIA that advised corporations.
Mhm.
And so Zion's got a very different perspective on things. I mean, his latest video that I got was very negative. It was very sobering. Sobering as I'm drinking this wine. I hate to think about it, because I mean, he gives us really a dire picture of what's going to happen with the both the economy, but just how we adjust. We're really in a a wartime. We need to adjust to a full wartime footing right now, economically, mentally, and frankly, Trump has got to get people's heads wrapped around that if he wants to succeed, or for that matter, if any of the Democrats want to succeed.
Yeah.
Although I would say Biden, but I don't ever think Biden's going to get go into the general elections. Somebody else is
Biden's
going to be put
out.
in his place. He's done.
Biden, yeah,
It's
he's
whoever
done.
it's whoever he picks is the one that I think actually runs in the general.
Yeah, yeah. Either it will, if the Democratic Party wants to win, to be honest with you, I think they'll have to pick a woman.
Oh, he's going to pick a woman. I think he's got
Yeah.
Stacey Abrams. I think he's got Michelle Obama. I think he's got Elizabeth Warren. He's got Gretchen Whitmer, whatever her name is, the one out of Michigan.
Hmm.
And you could tell the Republicans must have been really attacking Gretchen, because they've been trying to whap her hard to keep her from being the nominee.
Yeah.
And I think now with this Obamagate thing, there's no way Michelle can run. So my bet right now is it's going to be Elizabeth, maybe Kamala,
I think
but
Elizabeth
most likely
Warren.
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
She gets the
Yeah.
populace left on her side.
She's more known.
Yeah, because I think
She's more
she gets
known.
all the Bernie people behind, because
Yeah.
that's Biden's big problem, is he can't get Bernie people behind him.
Well, Biden is not being himself. That's why Biden.
Well, Biden has some clear cognitive issues. I'll put it that way.
Well, he can't ride Obama's coattail and expect to win the presidential candidacy. Like that's not going to work with us Black people, because just because you was with Obama doesn't mean that we're just gonna, oh, we're stupid, so we're just gonna go whoever won with Obama. Like, no, like people are starting to wake up these days. Like, no, Biden, what are you really gonna do? Like, fuck that. Even with Hillary, which she came to South Central LA and tried to do her little speech or whatever, nobody wasn't trying to hear that shit, that sugar honey iced tea. Excuse my language. We're trying to hear something that's going to help us. Like we're really surviving out here, and not just Black people, minorities in general. People, there's no middle class. So either you're upper class or you're lower class. Ain't no fucking middle. I mean, excuse my language. Ain't no freaking middle class these days. Millionaires are trying to get loans these days. Like, so either you're a billionaire or you're freaking poor.
Oh, it's. I think it's worse than that. You're a billion. Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, not even worse than that. I think if you're a what do they call it? Worth 100 million or more, you're okay. 10 million or less, you're still screwed.
Yeah. If you at least have 100 million, you're okay. Probably less than that, I'm sorry, because if you're going to end up filing for bankruptcy, what, 24-hour fitness filed for bankruptcy?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure they're in the 100 million bracket.
Well, it's all that rent. Now, all these rents are going to go through.
That's what I'm saying. Owning all them properties too. Like it comes a lot with being very successful. Like all these people you have to pay. Like you have to pay a lot of people. So if your profit ain't coming in, you're gonna go bankrupt. If you're not a billionaire, and either you're just, you'll probably still be upper middle class a little bit, but no, you're still bankrupt, because either you're fighting for your business.
You know what Buckminster Fuller said before he died? All these office buildings are going to be given to homeless. They're going to turn into homeless shelters, because that's going to be their most productive year. They should.
I want to keep. Yes, because you want to keep the homeless people off the beach and the coastlines and your tourism sites. Give them something. Give them a home with psychiatrists there. Give them home with a therapist there. Give them with doctors there on site. Yes, they should have building shelters like that with a doctor, a psychiatrist, and a therapist on site to help these people, and that's going to help the homeless get better. Yes, it's something that's.
Yeah, I really think that the best thing we could do, after this whole UBI notion needs to go beyond UBI. You need to fundamentally provide shelter, water, power, and internet. If you can get everybody that basic, if you give every child in the country that plus food, then we're in a great place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think crypto capitalism can bring that. I think that, capitalism 2.0 or 3.0, maybe it is, needs to come along and bring that to the people.
Crypto capitalism.
Yeah, well, I think the real fundamental problem we have right now is that corporations have turned evil. Corporations are also another corrupt institution of ours, right? We need to go from corporations and corporatism to community. If we can build
We
community,
do. Yeah.
if we can,
That's,
and we can
you're
build
right.
community, we can build a community with money, because we can make each community have its different form of money. We can give that smart money with integrity to the community. And right now we've got
Right.
dumb, corrupt money that's been offered by the central banks.
Right. And that's our goal. We really need to go from corporatism to community, because the people does
But
matter at
a
the
lot
end
of
of the
people are
day.
going to call this communist capitalism or communism, because it is around community. But that's the next evolution, I think, in the capitalistic
Okay, we're already communist.
system.
It's already communist because we're broke. Everybody, majority of the people are broke. So it's already communist. We're kind of, like you said, it's a reset. So we're on the same level.
Right.
So we have to give it a few we have to give it a few years for it to go back to capitalism, because people we're all on the same platform right now. I won't say the exact same, but equivalent to the same platform, because we're all struggling because of this COVID-19. So that's, like I said, unless you're up in 100 million and your business is pretty good, then you're the only upper class. Like, there's no middle class,
Mm-hmm.
period. So even if you have a job, you're
Well,
not going to
they
have a
say the
job.
middle class has been disappearing since 1992
Yeah,
or
that's what
something
I'm
like
saying.
that.
It's been disappearing. I mean, now it's gone. There's no middle class, period. Like, when I say there was like a couple, no, like now there's none, nada. So
And the other thing that's happened is that if you have a college degree, you can probably get employed even right now, because if you're in something that you can work from home, then you're in good shape.
right.
Oh, the other thing so I don't know. I got to research this and look at supply lines, because I wouldn't mind going from LA to Sacramento. I think that might be a better place for us, just because it would be you probably have at least 2 weeks of supply lines.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd be closer to, if you can get on a ranch or a farm right now, that's another thing to do. I really feel like
Yeah.
get on a ranch or a farm and hold some gold, hold some silver, and hold lots of crypto.
It's just to learn how to grow your own food and just do things for yourself, survival skills, because like today, you
Get
just
closer
never
to
know. I
nature,
feel
get
like,
closer to
yeah, because these days it's like
the
living in a
land,
city is
get
like,
closer.
it's
I
not
mean,
it. But I do feel bad for the people here. Like, I want to help them, and it's just, I want to
well,
be part of
then I go back to the other part of it, and I
yeah,
feel like, yeah, you need to get live in a riot-proof building here in LA, and then you'll be fine too.
yeah, yeah. So
But
we
how
have
many
a,
riot-proof buildings do you know of in LA? They may be over in Beverly Hills. That's about it.
that's what I'm saying. That doesn't make sense. It shouldn't be that way, and that's not fair.
Right? I mean, this is going to get really bad before it gets better, and we're at the very
Yeah,
beginning stages of it.
yeah.
Let's be honest with ourselves as to where we really
This
are at.
is Yeah, and this is really where our survival instincts kick in.
They have to.
Yeah,
I mean,
you have no choice. You have no choice. Like, this is the world we live in today, and we have to deal with it. Sad to say, but it is what it is. And we gonna end it at that, because the sun is going down and I'm losing my light. And this was a good video. And
yeah, I think so. That's a
yeah,
good first one.
and
I
we're
don't
gonna
know how
make
much
some
more you're gonna have
more.
to edit it. I'm gonna put in. By the
Yeah.
way, everybody, I'll put in links to the people I was talking about. I'll put those in the show
Mm-hmm.
notes. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Peace.
Deuces.